As we start winding down, it's brought to my mind a book that I'm sure all of us are familiar with, even though we're in different faiths. And I'm sure I'm safe to say this in this Presbyterian church. But referring back to the Bible in the book of Psalms, there's a wonderful short passage that says, "Seek peace, then pursue it." And it lets you know that peace is constant, vigilant work from the inside out. And you see all these activists come forward who are constantly, vigilantly, committedly in the work of peace. We are constantly seeking it and pursuing it. We are now down to, or should I say, we now have Saratha Goggins, Brian Davis, and Fern Clements.
Good evening. My name is Saratha Goggins, and I am the other councilwoman from the city of East Cleveland, Ohio. I am the councilwoman at large, the entire city. So therefore, I am Ione's councilwoman. I met Ms. Biggs years ago, and the way I met her is because of a woman, Miss Armantha Nesbitt. When I joined the National Council of Negro Women, and then I went on to become the president of the Cuyahoga County section here in Cleveland. Armantha said, well, you know, you got this powerful woman in East Cleveland, and you're gonna have to surround yourself with her. You get attached to her, and she gonna make you be all right out there in East Cleveland. So I said, who is she? So I'm thinking this is a young woman running around doing things. And I saw Miss Biggs, I said, my God, this who she want me to get with? So I got with Miss Biggs. She would call me and tell me where I needed to be, and I was there. And you know, I wanted to help Miss Biggs around, you know, because I figured she's an older woman, so I'm gonna help her. Miss Biggs was always leaving me because I couldn't keep up with her. So I saw her today, and I said, baby, where you going? She said, well, I'm going down to Brothers to have some printing done. I said, well, who's gonna take you? How you gonna get there? She said, baby, don't worry about it, I'm riding a cab. And here I couldn't hardly get up out that chair. So I said, oh my God, Miss Biggs, between you and Armantha is here tonight, who is 80 years old, and they get around better than I do. And then when I see my judge, my favorite judge, you brought out all the big shots tonight. When I see my judge sitting over there and they tell me how old they are, I had to try to stand up and switch like they do. It's hard, y'all got me working, but I'm gonna get it together. Miss Biggs, I am so proud of you, and especially because you belong to us in East Cleveland. People need to know who we have living in East Cleveland. They've been beating up on us lately. Don't stop praying for us, because we're going to be okay. We really are going to be okay. If you look on the back of your program, you see the phenomenon woman. So I wanted to make sure that you had a copy of that to take home. And we did our phenomenal, a tribute to Ione Biggs, East Cleveland Phenomenal Woman. And we took excerpts from Maya Angelou's poem. I bought you a gift today. Went shopping with my daughter. We unloaded the car and it's at her house. So since you live around the corner, I'll drop it off tomorrow if you allow me to do so. I just want you to continue to embrace her, because powerful women standing up and speaking out, it's a hard job, especially when we see what's going on in Iraq. We still need people to stand up and speak out. We need them to bring our children home. Ms. Biggs, thank you for showing me the way. Thank you for allowing me to just hold on to the hem of your dress to continue to speak out for peace and justice. And as I was taught through the National Council of Negro Women, to embrace our women around the world. I heard you. I'm still doing what you say. No matter what they say about us in East Cleveland, we are going to be okay. We got people like Ione Biggs watching out and looking over our shoulder. So everybody continue to pray for us, because when the final call is done, East Cleveland is going to be okay, because we do know how to pray. And we got people like Ione Biggs pushing us and nudging us and telling us what we better do. So y'all hang in there with us and don't give up. Thank you, Ms. Biggs.
Good evening. I am Fern Clements from the Committee of 500 Years of Dignity and Resistance, and this little redhead is my granddaughter. She is the youngest of the demonstrators. I met Ione 12 years ago when I joined the Committee of 500 Years. And some of my fondest memories of those days in the beginning, when I just started getting involved with being an activist, was sitting around my dining room table with Ione, Pearl, working on our committee newsletter, listening to the stories that Ione and Pearl would tell me of their events, the things that they had done, their experiences. And I kept thinking, the strength and the courage, the wisdom and the knowledge that she has and that she's sharing is absolutely remarkable. And through the years, things get tough and you get kind of tired of being out there and struggling against society, trying to educate people. And all I have to do is think about Ione. And she's still with us, and she still demonstrates. Quite often, she's the first one there. And I'll come walking up, and there's Ione waiting for us. And she has a hat that she wore one day demonstrating. It was a windy day. It was one of her favorite hats. She'd had it for, what, 25 years? And this was a pretty green hat with, well, actually, it was a rose-colored hat, straw hat with a little green trim. And it took off through the air and landed in rush hour traffic. And here's Ione looking at her hat going down the street. And Terry, one of our other faithful demonstrators, went after that hat. Now, it took her 15 minutes going through rush hour traffic to get this hat, but she finally got it. She brings it back and she hands it to Ione. Well, this hat has been ran over at least 20 times. It's flat. And Ione says, thank you, because this is one of my favorite hats. And she took it home. Now, many years ago, I was going through the airport in Cleveland, heading home to visit, and I'm going down Terminal D, and they have beautiful poster-sized pictures of Cleveland, people in Cleveland, and wouldn't you know it, there's a gorgeous picture of Ione. And I went, that's right, that's the way it should be. Because she has the strength, compassion, and love for people. And I'm just honored to know you and to stand by you when we're demonstrating. And on behalf of the Committee of 500 Years, thank you for being with us.
My name is Brian Davis. I'm the director of the Northeast Ohio Coalition for the Homeless. We're an advocacy organization in Cleveland that serves the homeless population. We publish the Homeless Grapevine newspaper, which Daniel appears in on a regular basis. And we do a lot of demonstrating, and every day I rail against the society for allowing even one member of our society to sleep on the streets of Cleveland. I scream loud about society looking past the one family with children that are afraid where they're going to be the next morning and will they be kicked out of their home. I complain about our society ignoring moms who are afraid that their children will be taken because they don't have enough bedrooms in their house. But in this environment, speaking to the choir here, I have to say that the United States, the world, and the city of Cleveland is a lot better off because of Miss Ione Biggs. In the last 50 years, we have made tremendous strides in racial fairness. In the last 25 years, 35 years, we have raised the profile of the issue of equality for women and low-income populations are becoming organized because of the work and the advocacy of Ms. Biggs. So we have a long way to go. In fact, in November, Ms. Biggs had to wait 9 hours in the emergency room to see a doctor, so we have a long way to go. But if we follow the path that Ms. Biggs has laid out for us, we'll get there. So if you catch me on the street and you pin me down and say, you know, I heard you talk about how our poor are being treated better by society, I'll deny it. I will deny it because my job is to be out there complaining, screaming, yelling about how the society treats poor people. But here in this environment, I have to tell you that Ms. Biggs has made a big difference in my life, and I admire everything that she's done, and every time I see her, I'm inspired to go out and do this work. So thank you very much, Ms. Biggs.
If you ever get the opportunity